There we go. Okay, so I'm going to ask you the question I ask everyone who sort of sees success. How did you find ex-boyfriend recovery?
I did a Google search for how do I get my boyfriend back.
Mm, okay. So you landed on the article, probably how do I get my ex-boyfriend back? And what were your initial impressions of the article?
I liked that I was able to get a lot of information up front without having to go through a sales pitch.
Mm. And then, of course, I sales pitched the hell out of you. No, I'm
Yeah.
but obviously at some point you did buy the book. So I'm always kind of curious to hear because everyone has like little different paths that they take. Some people like devour the entire site and it's not enough, and then they want the book. Or some people, devour an article and then they want the book. Where did you fall in that range?
I think I devoured the entire site.
Okay. And
Um, Looked at the success stories, and when I found out about the Facebook group, that was what sold me on buying the book because I knew that I needed support from other people that were in my same position.
so did you end up taking? I have a bunch of different quizzes on there. I also have the webinar. Did you kind of go through
Yeah,
that path?
I took the quiz several times, and I did the webinar too. Yeah.
And so eventually you bought the book and you came into the Facebook group, and you've been pretty active on the Facebook group. What were your initial thoughts of the Facebook group?
I loved it because there were people in all stages of this process,
Y-
and I found a lot of wisdom there. I was able to learn from other people's mistakes. I was able to rejoice with them when they were successful and cry for them when they were not. It was just a really great experience.
And so, I mean, you were pretty active. I noticed you came a lot on Facebook Lives. I saw your profile picture and everything up a lot during posting. Seems like you
Hmm.
worked with my wife a ton. So, one of the sort of feedbacks I keep hearing back from people on the Facebook group is that they love that they can see other people going through the exact same thing that they're going through because so many people feel like they're alone. Did you feel like a little bit of that vibe going on?
Yeah, exactly. It's great not to feel alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you feel like that because nobody else knows what you're going through
Yeah.
until you find someone who knows exactly what you're going through, and then you click and you understand each other.
Now, it's also come to my attention recently that the Facebook group, a lot of the girls are like friend requesting each other's personal profiles, and they got this clever little scheme going on. Whenever they post like a picture, they'll have all the other girls like it and comment on it. Were you a part of that?
No, I didn't really go there yet. Maybe I
Yet.
will. It's a great idea, though. I
Hey,
like
I,
that.
I thought it was genius. I was interviewing someone yesterday, and they were telling me about it, and I was just like, "What? This was go It was like going on. Like I had no even idea at all."
Hmm.
But yeah, so tell me a little bit about your ex and exactly what you did to see success.
Well, he blocked me one day out of the blue, and I asked him what was going on, and I got the impression that he was breaking up with me, and I begged and pleaded with him. He told me to stop it, and that's when I knew I had to stop. I had to leave him alone, and I knew if I was ever going to get him back, I had to just go away for a while
Hmm.
and give him room to miss me.
And so you came to the Facebook group obviously, and you did some form of the no contact rule. How did that kind of go? Because a lot of women struggle during this period of no contact.
It was hard at first because probably the first 3 or 4 days were hard because I was so obsessively checking to see am I still blocked,
Hmm.
um, and looking for any clues that he might be thinking about me or missing me. But after that, it got a lot easier, mainly because he didn't try to contact me.
Hmm. But so obviously, when a man doesn't try to contact you during the no contact rule, there's this internal voice that says to the back of your head, like, "Wait, this isn't working." Did that happen to you at all, or were you pretty steadfast and sticking to it till the end?
No, I was steadfast.
I love
I
it.
was
Love it.
going all the way. I had to quit caring whether he was thinking about me or not. And I was actually really grateful that he didn't reach out because I knew that it would be harder for me
To like
to
stick
ignore
to it.
him
Right,
if
right.
he was, attempting to talk to me.
So, how long was your no contact period?
I went 28 days before I heard from him.
28 days. So when you finally did hear from him, what was that like? Did immediately, because I'm assuming you kind of had picked the 30-day rule to kind of abide by.
I did.
So
And it's
28
very difficult to think about 2 extra days.
Right,
And
right. Did you do those 2 extra days, or did you decide, okay, I've done enough, it's time?
sort of, I don't know. What do you think? I got a couple of text messages that I ignored. Then then he unblocked me on
Interesting.
Facebook
Interesting.
and sent me a Facebook message. So I think ignoring those texts was key to getting myself unblocked.
Yeah, I always tell people are always asking me, and it's like the worst answer I have to give them. They're always asking me, how do I get him to unblock me? And I just tell them, look, time. Oftentimes he'll do it on his own. But it seemed, so you did the 30-day rule, you made it 28 days. When he reached out to you through text, I'm assuming, what was he saying to you?
He was saying that
I mean,
apparently
you don't
I
have
had,
to, you can be vague with it, but just give me like
yeah,
the gist.
he was like, I need to bring your stuff back to you. Looks like you've moved on.
Okay.
Have a nice life. When I ignored that, it got a little angrier.
Yeah.
So I did end up breaking my silence to kind of diffuse that anger and say, listen, I'm real busy. I'll get back to you later.
Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming after you kind of diffused the anger, all was right in the world with him, right? He had gotten the response that he was craving.
Yeah. After I sent that, I got a just laugh out loud. So yeah, the anger diffusing worked.
Yeah. Yeah, so
And it bought me that extra time that I needed.
and so now it gets interesting. So you've done the no contact rule for 28 days, and like I said, I've got these three different periods: the 21-day rule, the 30-day rule, and the 45-day rule. And it kind of looks like you had gone over 21 days, and you could have probably broken it there. And it seems to me like he was so stubborn, like she's going to be the one that reaches out to me first. And then he kind of waited because it was weighing on his mind, and he just broke down and texted you first. So it seems like the no contact rule was working, but obviously you haven't gotten him back yet. So what did you do after the no contact rule to kind of put things in motion for that?
Well, I ignored everything that he said in his first texts about bringing the stuff back and
Mm-hmm.
moving on, and I just ignored all that, and I used my first contact text that I had prepared in advance. And that worked beautifully. He responded very well, and then we were able to talk about the other issues that he raised.
Okay, and so let's create kind of a timeline here. You did the no contact rule for 28 days, and then it seems like you kind of diffused the anger, and then you kind of sent your first contact text message the next day?
Right.
Okay, so the next day, and then how long were you in the texting phase, per se?
Well, that's just been a couple days ago.
Really? So
So,
it went fast. It was just like the momentum had just built up. It didn't take much to get the ball rolling.
yeah, very fast. Once I agreed to talk to him, he actually called me on the phone, which shocked me so much that I actually answered it.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, we ended up talking for a while, and yeah, we're back together.
So now that you're back together, what are some of your concerns? Like, I'm assuming overall, in the grand scheme of things, you want marriage. That's what most women do want. Do you feel like this is the guy that can get you there?
Yeah, I think so. And I don't know what the timeline's going to look like,
Hmm.
but now I know I'm okay with him or without him. So
Yeah.
I'm in a stronger position to have a good relationship with him because of what I went through during the 30 days
Hmm.
or 28 in my case.
Yeah, so let's back up. What were some of the things you did during that no contact rule? Because it seems to me you were very, very strong emotionally, and you were really good at executing things. And it seems like you had this paradigm shift where you weren't begging for him back. So, what was your secret to getting through those 28 days?
I started working out every day.
Okay,
Excuse me.
no problem.
And particularly lifting weights.
Okay,
It was really symbolic for me to become strong inside and out.
I like that. Yeah, yeah, I like that a lot. So you lifted weights. I'm assuming you read the Ex-Boyfriend Recovery Pro, where I talk about the health, wealth, and relationships aspects. If we
Yes.
can kind of look at your life during the no contact rule, what did you do for those three aspects, or did you just focus more of your time on the health aspect?
I focused on the health aspect because
Hmm.
the other two areas were really starting to slip.
Okay. So you were kind of banking on the fact that health was going to give you confidence and
Right.
your wealth
I'm
and
also
relation.
I'm also living on a budget,
Hmm.
taking some financial planning classes. So I do that every week too.
Well, that's smart. Yeah. So you're just basically doing all these things to cultivate your life, and obviously you're a busy woman, so you can't like dedicate all of your time into just these three areas. You have
Right.
to, dedicate time to your family. You got to dedicate time to working out. You got to dedicate time to making a living. So it's not like you can just pour everything you have into all three. You sort of have to figure out the time allotment there. But it seems to
Hmm.
me like the fact that you're so busy worked in your advantage. Like I mean, you've been on the group. You see how many women struggle with the no contact rule, and every time he texts or says something bad, they're freaking out and want to break the no contact. It seems like your busyness worked to your advantage.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to stay busy.
Hmm.
It's easier to ignore that text that comes in, and it's good to take your mind off of that. You're not going to improve your life if you're obsessing over something that you don't have at the moment.
Yeah, so let me ask you, someone who's going through the no contact rule right now and they're struggling, if you could give them just one piece of advice, what would it be?
Put the phone down, take a walk, um, or call a friend, anybody to get your mind off of that guy that you don't have at the moment.
Mm. So for you, what were some of the? I guess I want to talk about some of the struggles you had. What was the most difficult moment you had during the breakup? Like, was it the no contact period where you're ignoring him, or was it the actual act of the breakup itself and sort of the fallout behind the breakup?
It was the breakup.
The breakup.
Yeah, it was just losing all the dreams that I had built up,
Mm.
all the plans that we had made. Losing that was the most difficult part.
And obviously, it spurred you to want to get him back. Was there ever a point during the no contact rule where you were thinking, you know what, I don't care if I get him back?
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
think it was good to get to that point because then that meant I was okay with
mhm.
whatever happened. I had
And
to become detached enough to be okay with whatever the outcome was going to be.
yeah, it's really crazy. The more and more women I talk to, specifically, in person like this, the more I see that the women who get to that point, like truly get to that point, end up having a lot more success with it's like they give off some weird vibe or something, or some positive vibe to their ex, and it's like a magnet. He just gets drawn in again.
Hmm.
So, yeah, what?
Yes, and I don't believe he would have contacted me. I believe he contacted me at the point where he started to wonder if I was seeing somebody else.
Yeah, yeah, and I've seen that a lot as well. I'm sure you've seen it in the group where the guy during the no contact will reach out and say, "Oh, you're seeing someone else," You know, so is it like I say, his mind is his own worst enemy. He's just like imagining things that aren't really happening, but that could potentially be happening. And so I imagine your ex was probably doing that with you. Did you get like verification of that after the fact when you actually started talking to him?
Yeah, he was very concerned that I had moved on and that I had, that, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, Mary, I guess the last question I have for you is, how did the group help you throughout this time? Because I did notice you were pretty active on the group, whether it's asking for advice, whether it's you showed up to a few Facebook Lives, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And so, like, during the hard times, did you turn to the Facebook group a lot, or was it just sort of like an all-day thing where you just kind of look at your phone or computer or whatever you're attending it on?
For me, it felt good to be able to support other people.
Mm-hmm.
But particularly in the last couple days where I needed to respond, that's when the Facebook group became really valuable to me, because I couldn't send anything without checking it with the girls first.
Mm.
I didn't want to say the wrong thing. I mean, I just felt like it was really critical that I was giving the right impression
Mm-hmm.
with my responses. And so, yeah, having people there ready to help me formulate responses was really invaluable.
You know, it's really cool too, because these are people going through the exact same thing you are. So they kind of understand your mindset a little bit better than I even could. Like, I can probably understand a man's mindset better than a woman's, but yeah, you know, it's like group therapy is the best way I could describe it.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, going forward, is there anything that you want my take on? Is there any way I can help you going forward?
Sure, yeah.
Go for it. Ask away.
Um,
And if you want to learn how to make $1 million, you need to go buy a lotto ticket, you know.
Moving forward, yeah, I'm not even sure quite yet, because we haven't even met in person again yet.
So you just have this verbal agreement that you're kind of official again, right?
Yes, yes, we're official.
Okay, so life is getting in the way right now of basically meeting. So I guess you're wondering how you should handle the very first meeting.
Right, we have decided to see each other on Friday, and don't know what we're gonna do yet, but yeah, just trying to nail down an appropriate way to begin again.
Yeah, so, you know, if you want my opinion, I think you should start off small, like a small coffee date whenever you got time, and end it short. You know, I know I talk about that in the book, but if you cut the date a little bit short, he's going to want more and he's going to come back again. That's kind of what you want to have happen, ideally. But I'm eager to hear what your thoughts were. Like, what were you thinking would be a great date for that first sort of reconnection?
Yeah, I think getting together for a drink would be best.
Okay. Yeah. So let me ask you.
Someplace quiet, someplace where we can talk, and
Right.
yeah, to keep it short. He seems to be confused by this, that I'm wanting to take it slow. So I don't want him to feel confused, and I don't want him to feel pushed away, but yeah, so I feel like I'm walking a fine line here.
Yeah, well, is there anything like specifically that you're sort of worried about?
Well, he mentioned getting married.
During the verbal agreement, when you're kind of reconnecting over the phone and basically saying, let's be official again, he did mention that was his intention?
Yes, he mentioned that during his first contact texts.
Whew, he is trying to lock you down. He's pulling out all the stops.
That's great. I'd like to be locked down. I want that ring.
Well,
I don't want I don't want verbal anything anymore.
Yeah, you know, I always say talk is cheap, you know, so he can say that that's his intention, but it's one thing to say, it's another thing to actually back it up. But I do think it's a smart idea to take things slow, and progressively build them up, because that's probably how you're going to get what you want, more than just rushing in, and then he'll know he'll have you, and then he'll know he can kind of string you along some more. So yeah, I think you seem very intelligent woman, so it seems to me like you don't really need a lot of overarching guidance. You kind of know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. I tend to rush though, so.
Okay, so it might be a little bit difficult for you to stay slow, is what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, keep it slow. Keep the first date. I think going out for drinks is a good idea. Let me ask you, going out for the drinks at night or during the day?
Well, in the evening is going to be my only option.
Okay,
so.
because of life, things get in the way. That's sort of the only time in your schedule where that's even possible.
That's right.
Okay, so you're kind of stuck to the evening, which is fine. It's a more romantic atmosphere, but I think it's important that you cut the date short, because it's going to confuse him that you're cutting it short, but it's also going to make him want you more and come back for that second date and that third date and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I see the wisdom in that.
Well, let me also tell you, it's a lot more difficult than it seems, like cutting a date short, because oftentimes when you feel and sense it's going well, you want it to continue, but you also have to have the discipline to say, okay, actually I got to run. You can make up some excuse. I'm sure you can make up something like legitimate and just say, hey, I got to run or something like that real quick. And the results will be really interesting. I think you'll be shocked at how well it works.
Okay, I won't take your word for it.
Okay, all right, hold me to it. You can just bash me on the Facebook group if it goes wrong, but
all right.
don't do that. Okay, well, is there any more things that you want to ask?
No. I'm feeling pretty good about how things are going now.
Yeah, I think you got a real chance of getting the ring. I really do.
When I started the process and when I joined the group, I had no hope. I felt like since I was blocked, I was probably, blocked on the phone too, and even if I sent a text, that he wouldn't get it or he wouldn't respond. So I couldn't be more pleased with the way things have turned out so far.
Yeah, well, keep the momentum going. It seems like you've got the ball rolling, and see, you got him back. It just seems like a win for you would be marriage. What I'm gathering, right?
Yes, that's right.
That's what you're going after. So you're on the right path, but Rome's not built in a day. So just take it slow, take it easy, and you'll get there.
Great. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, no problem.